What is the fastest you have ever seen a new coworker get fired? As a teenager, I worked at a bowling alley. Within an hour, a new girl was fired on the spot for dropping a ball on the foot of a complaining patron. Fired on her first strike. Spare me the bowling puns. This thread is going straight into the gutter. Don't stop, they're on a roll. Was this on purpose or accident? Purposely. 4 or so hours. When I was 18, I got a job at a grocery store, along with 3 others. We all started training together. On the first day, we were training in the evening, and one girl asked to go home. She said her head hurt. They said, fine. She clocked out, went to grab a grocery cart, and started filling it with beer and liquor. The store manager walked over and asked her if she was having a party. She said yes, didn't even try to come up with an excuse. Just, yeah, I am, so I needed to leave early on my first day. Basically, he fired her. Do I still get the employee discount? Sure, but since you're no longer an employee, it'll get reversed, plus 10%. He didn't show up the first day, second day, or third day. I had to work a double shift for 3 days straight. Not fun. I answered the phone when he finally called in on the 4th day. He said, I'm going to be honest with you, I've been in Orlando. My parents paid for a small vacation as a reward for getting the job. Would it be okay to start next week instead of this week? What better way to celebrate the end of unemployment than taking a little break from work? I worked at a hotel. A good housekeeper got her cousin hired, so they had a party. Cousin was found asleep in a bed on her first day, fired instantly. Guy got hired, went through training, and all that jazz. First day on the floor, he disappeared for 3 hours and then came back high as on like meth or something. A manager found him in the bathroom aisle, staring at himself in the mirror. Said manager looked at the cameras after firing him. The guy was there staring at himself for at least 30 plus minutes. Edit to clear up some questions. I worked at Home Depot. He was in the aisle where we sell bathroom countertops and medicine cabinets. We also have mirrors in this aisle, and that's where he was. Not in the bathroom, haha. Shrooms are the original face-changing app. Edit. I am now 7 times my karma after a year on Reddit. Thanks for the wonderful words. Before their first day on orientation, I got hired for a manufacturing job through Manpower, a temp agency. Me and a friend of my wife were both supposed to start on Monday at the plant for a week-long orientation. She got into a fender bender on her way to orientation and called them to say that she'd be a bit late, that she just needed to wait on the police to give a statement. The manager told her not to bother ever coming in. Girl was torn up. She took pictures, and the police reported in to the hiring manager, tried to explain things to the company HR managers, but no dice. She was fired before ever clocking in. Oh man, that stinks. It was out of her control mostly. Worked in a grocery store for a while. New guy took a lobster out of the tank and removed the elastic bands on its claws, then proceeded to put it back in the tank. The thing murdered all the other lobsters in the tank. I was halfway expecting a theft attempt by putting said live and free lobster down his pants. I thought he was gonna chase coworkers with it. Not gonna lie, I'd find that funny. 3 hours into the first shift, guy lost it serving an annoying customer in a grocery shop, throw a cabbage at her. The manager came and told him to go home cause he finished there. He wasn't surprised. I was standing next to him. It was an entertaining day. Did she deserve the cabbage? As a grocery store employee, they all deserve the cabbage. My buddy worked at a grocery store deli, and it's the reason I never want to work at a deli. I work construction. We had 2 new hires that were friends starting the same day. Boss told one take a coffee order and come back. Took everyone's money and said he needed his friend to go with him because it was a big order. They never came back. They quit a construction job to steal and split the cash from a few coffee orders. I imagine if they had stayed and worked a full day, they would have earned more than that. Yeah, but it's hard work. A man was hired to do stock at a tea store that sold lots of delicate china. Manager walked into the back on his 3rd day and saw him just throwing boxes of teacups and teapots. Instantly fired. I called a temp agency to get someone to help me count inventory. They sent a guy over with a cast on his arm. That was my first WTF, but I went with it because we were just counting parts. Then I came back from lunch, and this dude was in my office chair, zoned out and drooling on himself with a can of air duster in his lap. I kicked him awake and escorted him out of my warehouse. Never used that temp agency again. Air duster, like most inhalants, can kill you in a snap. Lucky you found an idiot and not a corpse. A 19-year-old kid got hired to work the seafood counter. See him twice, and then never again. Asked a coworker what happened. He had closed seafood one night, and was walking out of the store, and the 5 pounds of crab legs he'd stuffed down the back of his pants fell out in front of the closing manager. Edit. It was at a Publix. No, it was not Jameis Winston. Did this young man happen to win the Heisman Trophy? New guy started on Monday and was gone by Friday. The guy hit some racking in the warehouse with a forklift. Boss saw him do it, and the guy decided to lie about it when asked if he knew what happened. The only thing he did wrong was to lie to his boss. A shame, really. Mistakes happen, and most employers are cool about it if you own up to it. Lying, though? That's a bad idea. No castles or moats were involved. Just the pain of typing a comment on a tiny phone, sorry. I worked for a big home improvement store that I won't name. All I can say is the stores are orange. We had a guy come into work shit-faced and run one of the forklifts into the outdoor storage racks with customers around. Another employee forcibly removed him from the lift and dragged him to the back. Dude was given 2 options: walk and potentially face criminal charges, or go to an inpatient treatment center on the company's dime, and his job would be there if he wanted it after he got out. I can honestly say it's the one actually good thing I ever saw the company do at a corporate level. Coworker smoked like every 40 minutes for like 10 minutes, then asked the boss if he could leave an hour early because he didn't take his lunch break. As my boss said, "Sure you can, but you don't need to come back." Where I worked, my boss gave benefits for workers who didn't smoke. This happened because smoking is really popular in my state. This was just a summer job at a fast food place. We had a new girl start, and within 2 days, it was apparent she was an idiot, and everyone knew that. You could already see the manager questioning his decision. Then, on her 3rd day of work, she said she couldn't come in because her mom was in a car accident and in the hospital. Turns out that's an easy thing to disprove in a relatively small town. Pretty shitty thing to lie about, let alone just to get out of work. Corporate chain restaurant new server, aged mid-30s. 3rd day he was working. We had to fire him mid-shift. Why? Dude went into the public restrooms, with other guests clearly in there using the urinal, and started doing lines of blow-off on the edge of the sink. Why not just do it in the back with the cooking staff like everyone else? About 35 minutes, I hired a guy to work for me as quality inspector for merchandise headed to Walmart and Target. He bragged about everything he stole from his last job during training and how they paid him more than I did. Well, I'm not holding him back from all that money, so I had some big guys escort him off the property. Had a guy say similar things about his old job once, and that they were really positive about him. Manager was happy to hear he would not be without a job for long when he fired him. Why even say stuff like that? Edit. So this comment tripled my Reddit karma. I was fired on my 2nd day as a line cook at a Mitzel's restaurant in Washington State back in the 90s. Turns out I was hired just to threaten the job security of a longtime line cook with an attitude problem, to keep him in line. He got the message and apologized to the manager, and I was fired for breaking a yolk when flipping fried eggs, one time. I'd been a line cook for a few years by then and thought I was doing pretty good. I was taken out the back door and terminated on day 2. Idiot. This really seems to be blowing up. Happened in Oak Harbor back in mid-1990s. So yes, I did find another job since then. I was pissed but got over it quickly. Cooking for a living was hard work. Standing in a hot kitchen for 10 hours at a time, going home splattered with grease, getting yelled at by waitstaff and management. I don't do it anymore. Thanks for all the Hugseat awards, guys. This was a while ago at my old job. New guy gets hired as a busboy. He was super annoying and tried to insert himself into everyone's conversation whether they wanted him there or not. It only took a couple of hours for the whole restaurant to hate him. I was working the bar and he kept eating the bar fruit. I personally didn't care, but the manager did. Manager comes over and tells him to stop eating the fruit. He looks the manager in the eye and eats another piece of fruit. Manager says, "Really?" Followed by, "Come with me to the office." New guy promptly replies with, "All right, man, calm down. I can tell you got that big dick energy for a good reason," followed with cliche wink and nudge from his elbow. In front of me and like 4 other employees. I wanted to slam my face into the ice bin. It was so cringy to witness. He promptly walked out the front door 10 minutes later without his uniform on anymore. The worst thing about it was the manager was an insanely laid back guy. Hell, the whole restaurant was insanely laid back. You really had to try hard to get fired from this place. Had he not thrown in that big dick line, I'm almost positive he would have just gotten a slap on the wrist and kept the job. You got that big dick dick energy absolutely kills me. Why would you ever say that to anyone, let alone your boss? Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watch other videos.